opportunity for instructors to impose a consequence if there is demonstrated lack of communication. Right now, the policy, I'm very happy, that's why there's an exclamation point, is 4.5 pages. There is multiple pages, it's actually about 30 pages long, but the policy is 4.5 pages. The procedures explain in more detail, and then we've built appendices so that folks don't have to wade through, right? If you've read the academic honesty policy now, you have to wade through a lot of things to kind of get where you need to go. So instead, we're making references to appendices so people can kind of find what they need when they need it, instead of having to be exhausted by the entirety of it. So just a couple of quick points, and again, I'm happy to make this available for everybody, right? But this is what you're going to sign upon your matriculation to UMass. You signed a commitment to academic integrity, right? So we've got that built into it. We've got, these are the definitions of academic dishonesty, and so that's where we're including stuff on generative AI and digital technologies, unauthorized use of information. We've got the development, as I said, of the college point person. Again, this is a pretty lengthy appendices right here, so the too long didn't read. Is, as I explained, it's somebody that can support the instructors as they're moving through the process. Next steps, if you have any questions or comments or concerns, if you'd like to know more information, if you want to talk about this further, there's my email. Please email me and let me know. I'm, again, very happy to share the draft. I've been cleaning it up on a pretty regular basis right now as we've been meeting with folks, so I've got a nice clean draft that feels pretty darn good right now. We are going to schedule a vote at Academic Matters. We are the body that approves it initially. Once it gets approved by Academic Matters, we would then send it to the Faculty Senate. Our aim is for the Faculty Senate to approve it by December, because we do recognize how giant of a change this is, right? It's a huge change, and so we want to be able to use all of next semester to build all the websites or build all the paperwork or build the commitment to academic integrity, to work with SGA and GSG on ways to stuff. I spent some time today digging through Faculty Senate documents that are going to need to be updated with all the new language. So that's what we're hoping for next semester and over the summer. I'm confident, as with any meeting, y'all have a really packed agenda, so I'm happy to stay here and answer some questions. But if you've got to move on to other stuff, I'm also happy to take questions via email. I don't know your procedure, so I'm okay.
Thank you for the presentation and everything. I have a couple questions. My first question is, can you explain what the grievance policy is?
So the grievance policy in brief, because it's also a pretty big policy, but the grievance policy in brief is if any student feels that they have been assigned a grade or some sort of consequence that isn't fair, that is arbitrary or capricious, they can file a grievance against that grade, against that assignment, etc. Right? So we just want to make sure that we're sort of still in, that we're absolutely still in alignment with that. And that's why we're really cautious about making sure that our time frames are clear. Because if a student is, for example, non-communicative and won't respond to the faculty member, and the faculty member assigns a grade, we might have to think carefully about the timing of that. But the grievance is basically if a student feels that they received an unfair grade, that the grade was arbitrary or capricious, they can file that and then have a further formal conversation about that. Yeah, sorry.
Can I follow up?
Yeah.
With that, could you like talk about if there are any major changes regarding like formal resolutions and informal resolutions?
So we're pretty much the informal resolution is what we encourage as the first step, right? If no agreement can happen through the informal, faculty can, instructors can move towards the formal. We're not really changing the architecture of that. What we're doing with that, because those both are solid, it's just they weren't really clear in how they were presented, And we're trying to be really clear about timelines as well. So we didn't make dramatic changes to the informal or the formal process, tried to make them more clear and more transparent and more understandable for everybody involved.
Thank you. I just had a couple questions. Could you explain this one phrase in the facilitating dishonesty section? What does it mean to manipulate digital technologies with unauthorized course information?
So if you, for example, share, so many of your instructors might have something on the syllabi saying that this is like their intellectual property. It's basically that if you share material from your course in a digital capacity that your instructor did not permit, you're taking work that isn't yours and maybe, or isn't, that they didn't permit to be borrowed, and then putting it out there potentially as a sort of test cheating opportunity.
Okay, thank you. And could you also really quickly, I know this is a big question, but just explain what the generative art AI changes are, like how much is left up to individual faculty members, is getting feedback from an AI considered cheating, or?
So the general idea of generative AI is, quite frankly, to include it in the definitions of dishonesty. But there's always a space for faculty and classroom instructors to say, for this assignment, you might consider using X, Y, and Z. That is permissible. So yes, there's absolutely faculty discretion. It's about use of generative AI that has been prohibited. So if your instructor says no, and then you do it anyway, that would be an example of academic dishonesty. But if your instructor says, I want you to use, I mean, I did this in my class last semester or last year. I was like, I want you to do this paper via ChatGPT so we can see what ChatGPT, quote unquote, knows about this assignment. It was a very intentional use of it. So there's absolutely room for instructor discretion.
So the exact like wording when you academic policy, so what is it, just like a blanket if the instructor doesn't say anything about their personal thoughts about AI, just blanket, you cannot use it whatsoever?
The unauthorized use of generative AI would be part of the definitions of academic dishonesty, but the individual instructor can say you are welcome to use it, or you can use it for review, or I quite frankly, I'm not super up to date on how ChatGPT is being used, so I'm probably using some language from like 2 years ago or a year ago when I was really trying to play around with it. But individual instructors can say this is fine for this assignment or for this course or for this draft or for this start or whatever. But we wanted to make sure that the unauthorized, the unpermissible, like you did not get permission to use generative AI, is within the definitions of dishonesty.
So UMass is obviously taking a pretty firm stance on AI unless you're given permission. But I've read at least more than one article that details examples about how like AI detectors and the detection of AI is very unfaulty. So like, for instance, it's very hard to determine whether someone used AI or not. And I think with UMass doubling down on you can't use AI no matter what, and also the influx in people being accused of using AI when they're not, I think it's something to consider. And I'm just kind of curious how professors are going to determine whether someone uses AI or not.
So I agree with you 1,000%. And you welcome to a soapbox of mine on surveillance technologies. All the technologies that are out there that purport to tell instructors, we're going to be able to tell you that your student cheated or not, that is not fair at all. And most of those are, what they're doing is data mining. They're getting more information about you by trying to tell me that I can rest assured, right? And so they're mining your data without your proactive consent, which I think is truly horrible. There are also any anti-generative AI detection software is also training AI. So there's a huge manipulation factor to that. I think you're also right. It is really hard to tell when somebody has used generative AI. Maybe one way is that the writing does tend to be more clinical. Sometimes it's got gray boxes on it that folks don't erase. Then it does become more obvious. Sometimes ChatGPT is really good at sourcing, providing a bibliography of sources that don't exist at all whatsoever. So your instructor might be like, this is my area of expertise, and that person doesn't exist, or those sources don't exist. What we are trying to do is to create a policy that is educative and communicative, so that faculty and instructors and students are talking with each other about it. And I don't know, there is probably somebody who is academically dishonest because they're like not really fabulous human beings, but I think most people who are academically dishonest are doing so because of external pressures, because of time, because of being backed into a corner. Maybe there's a way for that we as a community can have different conversations about this. This is also a policy, right? It is a policy. It is not every single human interaction. So we want to come at this from a position of trusting our students, that we trust that you are also committed to this as a member of the university, that you are committed to being within academic integrity, that we don't want to start from a position of accusation. And I think a lot of our digital technologies, particularly generative AI technologies, are teaching all of us to think in forms of accusation versus curiosity.
Can I just follow up? So I'm just curious, thank you so much for your answer, by the way. And I agree that we shouldn't be coming at it from a place of accusation. I'm just curious, is there a policy, or what exactly does it look like for someone with this policy in place to get accused of AI, and what would be the evidence that they would use to,
I can give you an anecdotal, because it is not part of, I can kind of give you an anecdote if that's at all helpful, but that's certainly not necessarily beyond an anecdote, because this isn't the policy yet.
Okay.
But I can give you an anecdote of my own experience. I had a very brief assignment in one of my classes where it was to respond to an activity we had done in class, and the paper that I got had nothing to do with the activity that we had done in class. So it felt a little suspicious kind of from the get-go. I wanted to try and model some of the drafts of this, so I connected with the student and we had a really great conversation, learned a lot about why he made the choice that he did. Ultimately, quite frankly, it was 2 points. It was 2 points out of the whole grade, so it didn't have disastrous consequences. And it was exactly what I was saying before. He was backed into a corner of timing. It was too much all at once. This felt like a way to get something done. Saw that it didn't really work out that great, but that's an anecdote. I really can't speak for how faculty. I think there will be faculty that might not necessarily handle it great, and faculty that are going to handle it fabulously well. One thing that is in this policy are some suggestions. If the infraction looks like this, if it's at this time of year, if it has to do with this thing, there's suggestions. Because here's the thing, right? I mean, I'm sure you all have policies that you struggle with across the university, because we're a huge school and we can't possibly know everything. There are a lot of instructors that I spoke with on my listening tour who honestly, genuinely believed that academic dishonesty went through the dean of students and the student code of conduct. And so the dean of students is fielding questions that are like, no, that's an academic thing, not a student code of conduct. So what we're also trying to do is give folks, as I said, real clarity about where stuff belongs. So if a student cheats on a quiz versus, I don't know, a grad student who copies their dissertation, those are real different weights for them. So we've got some tables in the appendices trying to illustrate what appropriate steps might be that are humane and hopefully not terribly accusatory. It's our goal. I would like, once this policy gets approved, I would like us to be able to spend some time working with it and making sure that it's doing what it says it's going to do.
Considering the fact that obviously you put a lot of thought and effort into this change to the policy over the past 4 years, I want to just recognizing the fact that this is a changing environment, switching from 20th century to 21st century. Would you say that this policy is more focused on future proofing or making changes in the future easier, future revamps?
That's a really interesting question. Hope it sticks around for a while, to be honest with you, because this is a lot of work over the past couple of years. We are not an institution that can change policy so quickly, right? We're an oil tanker, we're not a speedboat. So I would really like it to be something that is can kind of stand the test of time. That being said, technology moves a lot faster than policy. It moves a lot faster than law. So who knows what's on the horizon, and maybe we do have to revisit it sooner rather than later. But maybe what we could do in terms of sort of future preparation is, I don't know, like amend parts of it versus gut it, right? Right now, I think it needed a gut revision. I'd like it to not need a gut revision for quite some time.
Thank you.
Any more questions? I just want to note that as of right now, we don't have full representation on academic matters. I'm trying to get on that committee, so I want to use this as like kind of to shout out academic matters and say that if you guys really want to be involved in the draft of this, people are involved to get on academic matters.
Point of information, I'm actually on that council. I attended the meeting and I will be reporting out about like whatever comes up.
And Juliet, are you still on?
No, my schedule isn't.
Got it, okay.
Yeah, I was gonna, yeah, I was gonna say that, like, I know at least from my master experience that you guys also handle, like, syllabus requirement edits. And, like, since, like, AI is so new, I assume that, like, quite a few teachers still kind of are only just, like, vaguely aware of what AI can do, but not, like, fully aware. Like, is there any plan to, like, make a requirement, to specify, like, AI use policy in syllabuses going forward, or like I mean, I'm not sure if this is now reaching outside of academic matters, or just kind of like having some sort of like overall teaching for teachers of like how to consider possible AI use.
Sure. So I think some of that is outside of Act Matters and some of it is inside of it. In terms of the university, and I'm sorry, this being not my computer, I would have grabbed it if it was my computer, but there was a university task force on generative AI. And the sort of bottom line of it is that it is instructor consent, right? It is instructor discretion. The Center for Teaching and Learning and a handful of other places, I shout them out in particular because one, I've been to some of their stuff and it's really fabulous. They do have opportunities for instructors to learn more about both, productive uses of Gen AI as well as just kind of what it is. So CTL has a lot of stuff for instructors that is open to all instructors on campus, from graduate TAs, TOs, tenure student faculty, lecturers, etc. So there are many, and that's outside of Act Matters, right? But there are many places where instructors and students have the opportunity to learn more about this. Our job is thinking about what happens when it's done incorrectly, when it's done against an instructor's rules or expectations, and then certainly making sure that whatever an instructor's expectations are clear on their syllabus.
Final question? All right. Well, thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. You have my email for that, and it is on academic matters, so anything that I can follow up with, I'll definitely check into you. So thank you all.
Sending out a Zoom link. All right. Are there any further announcements? Oh, yes, there is actually. Okay. Associate Speaker Amherst and I have a very exciting announcement, which I will pull up right now. Yes.
Okay, so Michael and I last year, we sent through a motion that got passed, and it was basically for the delegation of tasks under the associate speaker to 2 different positions. So in the past, we've had special assistants. So these are technically special assistant positions. And I just wanted to make an announcement that these positions are going to be open. I'm going to be sending out the applications, or the applications are open. They're right there on the, what do you call it, QR code.
Yeah.
Basically, each position, I have 1 clerk of the Senate and 1 records officer. They're both unpaid positions, but they are great to, like, if you're a freshman or if you want to do this and you're not a freshman, to kind of get your foot in the door in SGA, and to kind of get, like, more of, like, an intricate, like, learning of, like, maybe how I do things, how I put those things, just how stuff in the office of the speaker is done. The first one I have as a clerk of the Senate. It's about 5 hours a week. Basically, he would attend a meeting with Michael and I once a week. You take minutes at Senate meetings. Minutes are a great way to like learn how to type faster and also just like get in like the habit of like being able to take notes in these meetings and like kind of listening more to like what's being said. So like if I'm taking minutes, I'm really listening to like what's being said because I'm writing it down. You would work with me to create the Senate agenda each week. That's super fun. So you're ensuring that all motions are in the proper format. So basically, I have like a Google Drive that I can organize. So making sure that everything's like all good and like consistent across the board. You're managing the Senate motion submission system, which we introduced this year. So that's really interesting. Basically, just seeing like what motions are being passed through to be put up on the agenda each week. That's collecting all special orders, motions, and other things put on the agenda. And then you're working with Secretary of Technology Anisha to maintain the Senate page, which
We'll be showing tonight.
yeah, so that's exciting. And then the records officer is 3 hours a week, so a little bit smaller. Maybe if you don't like the 5-hour time commitment, although it's not that bad, it's not that much. You upkeep the Senate record system. So basically, we have a drive together where everything is public, like the minutes, agendas. That's the folder that you guys all went into today. And I hope you guys have up on your laptops tonight to see where everything is. So that's open to the public. Everyone can see that if you go to UMass. Updating the legislation tracker. So this is basically something that like when motions get passed, if they don't get passed, we put them all into this Google sheet, which is called the legislation tracker, just so that we keep track of everything very routinely, very organized. So if in the future we need to go back and maybe reference like a motion or a resolution, it's in the legislation tracker and it's all easy fun. You act as the records access officer. So you basically provide support to legislative officers, individuals, public records requests. So sometimes maybe we'll get an email asking for some document or motion, like which I just mentioned. So you, as the records officer, you'll be able to help with that and to like find things more easily, which kind of goes back to the legislation tracker. And then you just attend a bi-weekly meeting with the office of the speaker. So not as often. The clerk would need to meet more often with us, but the records officer wouldn't. The QR codes up there, I would say that these are like very good positions. I'm doing all of this right now, so I could really use the help. It's not that hard. It's kind of fun. We could like sit and do the agenda each week or go through like the legislation tracker. Again, it's a great way to like get your foot in the door and kind of really get into like SGA a little bit more. Again, it's unpaid. I know that I don't know if that'll be like turn off some people, but again, it's a really good experience to have. Applications are due this Sunday. I know it's a little bit soon at 11:20. They're really simple and straightforward. Like they're not hard at all. It's a Google form. You fill it out. It's like your resume and then a couple questions.
Yeah.
Super easy. And then the following week after, I'm going to send out something and I'll probably announce it at Senate talking about interviews. So I'll go through them. Obviously make my decisions. And if I want to like give whoever applies an interview and kind of we can chat a little bit more. And then from there, probably the week after, I'll send those decisions out. Does anyone have any questions? No. Oh.
Just anyone ever has any interest in becoming speaker, associate speaker one day?
Yeah.
This is great experience.
Absolutely.
Same thing. Like this is really great experience to be able to like get up like you're ranking SGA a little bit. Like Michael and I were the chair and vice chair on the Administrative Affairs Committee last year, and that really helped us to like be in our positions today. So again, this is a great way to get a foot in the door and get experience with the speaker and associate speaker.
Yeah, I know that this would have helped me do my job right now if I had done this when I was a freshman or even last year. So it's just, I know Melina already said this, but I can't emphasize it enough. This is a great opportunity for you to be in touch with us and to see what our job is like and if it's something that you would be interested in the future. Because we won't be here forever, you know. But I would highly, highly recommend it if you're looking for just even a little bit to get more involved. For both of them, we do really value, being on top of your own calendar, having good time management, being reliable, dependable. These are all things that Melina will be looking for as she reviews your applications. But
Please make sure you can show up to Senate meetings as much as
yeah,
possible.
yes,
That's really important.
that's especially for clerk.
I also want to highlight that, along with what Michael said, these skills that you'll get from each of these positions aren't just limited to you maybe becoming the next speaker, associate speaker, getting your foot in the door that way. These skills can help you become a chair or a member of exec. To have these skills and to kind of do these things and really get to know how intricate the SGA works and what we do as procedural officers. I think that's just super important to know. If there's no more questions, I'll have this QR code if anyone still needs it after, so just let me know.
Yeah, sorry, one thing. Yes, definitely do scan the QR code, but also you'll see in the supplemental materials folder that the application material, a more complete description of the job expectations are also there. Chair statement.
I did have a question just regarding, because my understanding of the role for associate is that you usually do these things, or what would you be doing as part of your job now that there's people taking on this role?
I just want to highlight that these positions help me with this, so it's not like they're solely doing this. They're helping me with this position. My position, there's a lot to do. Historically, the associate speaker has been a little bit more backseat, in the sense that the speaker usually handles things more. So my position this year is to delegate some of these tasks, these types of things, to help me out a little bit more, to be able to attend more meetings and be more involved with people in SGA, to help chairs with their projects, even except if they need help with their projects, to sort of be more on top of things.
Right, also just to oversee our overall transparency as a branch. Delegating these roles, clerk and records officer, both of these positions really help us keep the SGA transparent. And so Melina, the new role of the associate speaker is to kind of oversee the management of the office of the speaker, which is now going to be composed of 2 more positions. Additionally, helping our constituents understand what the legislative branch does and what the Senate does. That's also part of the new, I guess you could say, job description of the associate speaker. So.
I also just thought that these would be just great to have additional roles in SGA. I, as a freshman last year, I would have loved something like this to kind of help me get more involved and start learning a little bit more to help again get my foot in the door.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions?
Another quick with especially with the Senate page, that would be really helpful. I feel bad for Michelle, we should be doing so much for that page, so contact allow people to information out as well.
Exactly. Great point. Any other questions?
If you have any other questions, my email is sgassociatespeaker@UMass. So feel free to email me if you have anything else, or to come up to me at the end of the meeting. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Any other announcements? All right. Seeing none, the associate speaker will take the first roll call.
Yeah. Senator Denny. Senator Almonte. Senator Anim. Senator Bloom. I'm going to ask that you just speak up a little bit if I'm calling your name. Senator Borowski. Senator Buchisova.
Here.
Senator DeMarco.
Here.
Senator Domi.
Here.
Senator Duarte. Senator Duvetti. Is that here?
Yeah.
Senator Faiza. Senator Germain. Senator Hercule. Senator Hirandani. Senator Ibrahim. Senator Jemay. Senator Kim.
Here.
Senator Kumar. Senator Leclerc. Senator Lewis. Senator Molesky.
Here.
Senator Malari.
Here.
Senator Monda. Senator Manikandan. Chair Mazanda.
Here.
Senator Mello. Senator Nevins. Senator Nugent. Chair Onyeka.
Here.
Senator Patel. Senator Patek. Senator Pastorello. Senator Fawn. Senator Prabhakaran. Senator Prabhakar.
Here.
Chair Raven. Chair Stamen.
Here.
Senator Silverio. Senator Strong. Senator Tamkin.
Here.
Senator Tao.
Here.
Senator Chuang.
Here.
Senator Burma. Senator Wu.
With 38 voting members, a quorum is present. Yeah, round of applause for that. All right, the minutes from the last Senate meeting were sent out to you all 48 hours prior. Are there any corrections to the minutes? What was that? You didn't hear your name? During roll call? During roll call, you didn't hear your name. I'm not hearing this.
During the roll call.
Oh,
What's your last name?
oh, when?
He said.
Okay. Ruth. Okay. Just double checking everyone else. Everyone else is good? Okay. Once again, any corrections to the minutes? There being no corrections, the minutes stand approved without objection. On to officer reports. Student trustee Oliveira is recognized. President Humphreys.
Hello, everybody. How are you all doing today? Happy Wednesday. So I am going to add a couple updates because there isn't a huge report out up there. Full disclaimer, I was away in Maine for the weekend, visiting my grandfather who is ill, so I don't have as many updates as I normally would. Wanted to kind of be transparent about that, but the last couple days I have been back to work and I've had some really, really exciting things going on. One of those is I'm working with Chief of Staff Nassar to really like reform the way his position, the duties of his position. There is going to be an official bylaw reform at some point. However, right now we are implementing some things where he's going to be doing more when it comes to supervising the cabinet, as well as keeping track of the schedules of the president and the vice president, scheduling meetings. Really a lot of things that typically the chief of staff would do, but for whatever reason in the past, it has not been delegated to the chief of staff. And eventually we will be proposing a bylaw reform to reflect that, because the bylaws as they're currently written are very vague. I also met with Chair Stamen last Thursday to discuss financial related issues. We are working on setting up a standing meeting. Chair Stamen, Secretary Bellery, myself, Speaker Flanagan, Vice President Leone, Associate Speaker Amaratis, so that we can meet regularly to discuss the ongoing SATF reforms, which include the audit and a number of other things that we'll be unveiling in the coming weeks. But additionally, otherwise, been mostly working on, I met with the speaker of UMass Boston today, as well as the president. That was super nice. We discussed some joint food security efforts. And I would say that's about it. I did list a couple other things up there. Attended the town hall last week. It was a great opportunity to talk to constituents. That is an event that I'd like to do again in the future, but however, we definitely want to get attendance up. So please tell your friends, tell everybody you know next time. We'll try to get a better space and we'll try to advertise it earlier, but really try to get people there. And remember, you as senators are welcome to come. As leadership, we're welcome to participate. We're also looking to more of an open format. That this time, those of you who were there know it was kind of really back and forth. So we kind of talked about different ways we can make it more open to the public. And yeah, otherwise I've been catching up on emails, getting caught up on everything after my little few days away in Maine, and I'm really happy to be back. And if you have any questions, you can ask them now or feel free to email me after. All right, have a great week, everybody.
Vice President Leone.
All right, everyone. How's everyone doing? Good. Let's get some energy. Are we good? Tonight. But most things are in my report. I did want to mention that the BDS resolution we passed last week will be sent out to the board of trustees probably around next week. We're just waiting for Shelly Perdomo, the vice chancellor supervisor campus life, to get the opportunity to review it. She has the opportunity to review all motions that we pass, whether it's a resolution or policy enactment. I also wrote how I was blowing out Colin in fantasy. I did beat him, but won by 1 point. So still a win's a win. 4-2. He's what? 2-4. Anyways, Anaya has the deal fund guidelines out. I'm sure she'll talk more about that in her report out. We have the DEI committee as well that we sent out to everyone. I'll let Anaya kind of explain more about that. I think it's, and the one thing is, Colin and I also sent an email to Dean Cardoso today, regarding the student conduct reforms that we were doing. And so we basically sent her an email today saying, hey, when are we gonna establish this working group? So we sent that today, we're just waiting for her response. That's kind of most things, kind of a slow, quiet week, and yeah, any questions?
President Humphries. I hope that one works. Finicky microphones.
So, this one works. Beautiful. So just real quick question, or just a point of information, more per se. He likes to bring up the fantasy score. I just find it ironic that he does that, seeing that his real life team, the Patriots, lost this weekend.
The Patriots beat the Bengals week 1.
And my Cincinnati Bengals won against Molina's New York Giants. Thank you very much.
All right, let's get back to business. I have two things to say. First, I want to invite up Chair Mazzando and Chair Stamen for their swearing in. Yes, round of applause. I'm lacking the word for this, but do the oath. Here you go. What's on?
Raise your right hand and say I do to affirm. Do you affirm to faithfully execute the office of SGA Committee Chair and support the Constitution and bylaws of the Student Government Association?
I do.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Chair Trans will be next week. Yeah. All right. Wonderful. So that's my first report out. Second topic is something called the Senate website. All right, so this I just want to go through this a little bit. Also, round of applause to Secretary Anisha Sharda. She's all the way in the back. She's hiding out there, a little shy. But this has been something, an idea of mine for a while now. And I just want to say thank you so much to Anisha for helping make that idea come true. I think it'll do great things to increase our transparency as a branch, and also just keep students informed about what we're doing. But now I'll just do a little demo. So this is the first page you get to when you go to umass.edu/SGA. And so you'd find the Senate page under About Us. Right there, Senate. There we go. And then you load in and it looks like this. And there are 6 lovely tabs. This first is the home page, where you'll find a welcome to the Senate. You'll find an announcements, which will be once we get those, the clerk and records officer hired, they'll be in charge of doing that. And then you have some motivational quotes from former speakers and their prefaces. And then you'll see here too, Senator of the Month. More information will be sent out regarding that, but the Senator of the Month will be displayed on the Senate page of the website. So their picture, their electoral district, and all that fun stuff. All right, and now we'll go over to Senate records. Here you'll find links to our records as a branch. So Senator attendance, minutes, agendas, Senate meeting recordings, and live streams. All of that is accessible on this tab. This, by the way, all of these link to the Senate record system, which is something that the records officer will be upkeeping. Next, we'll go on to committees. Here you'll find the 7 standing committees of the legislative branch. And if you click on to, I'm going to do this because Val is absent today. There you go. You'll find an overview of the committee. You'll find the chair, their contact info, the meeting time, the members of the committee, their emails, and then also a link to the records of the committee. Lovely. Onto the calendar. This is the SGA calendar. We're just putting it here, and you'll see, oh yes, University Undergraduate Senate meeting, right there. All committee meetings, office hours will be in a different area, but all public meetings of the SGA will be displayed on this calendar. The loveliest legislation tracker. You can find that on the website as well, right here. After this meeting, it'll be updated. But yep. And then So do you all remember having headshots taken of you? That's for this. This is just for the public to see who the representatives are and what their contact information is. And yeah. So that's pretty much it. That is the new Senate page on the website. Another round of applause. I guess I'll yield for questions now. Senator Lewis.
Might be more so a question for you, but for those of us who missed training, do you want us to submit a headshot, or would it look more cohesive to just not have the photo?
I would ask Secretary Sharp that question.
Okay.
The question was if you did not get a headshot at Senate training, if you should submit a headshot to Secretary Sharda. And
Actually, it depends. I think there's enough people who, like, there are quite a few individuals. There are enough people for it to make sense to take pictures. We can do that to add them on. Otherwise, I would just have people who would submit a headshot if they're interested in that.
maybe we do a show of hands. Who would want to submit, if you did not go to Senate training, who would be interested in submitting a headshot to Secretary Sharda? Show of hands. Okay, all right. Yeah. Okay, we'll keep you all updated on that. Other questions? Yeah, questions from the TBD, but this is something that Chair Sarna and the future chair of internal development's conversation will have. But yeah, good question. Other questions? All right. Yeah, that is it. Thank you, everyone. On to Associate Speaker Amherst.
Hey everyone, I hope you all had a nice long weekend. I feel like that break was really needed for everyone to come back and reset. A couple of things. First off, usually I defend the football team that I like, but Colin just aired my dirty laundry to everyone. So go Yankees. I do like the Giants, but they're not doing too hot. Another round of applause to the Secretary of Technology, Anisha. Please, one more. And I'd also like to say that Speaker Flanagan, when he gets something in his mind, he does not leave it alone. And I just want another round of applause for him, because there'd be nights where he was in Spain over the summer and he was up till 2 a.m. doing the website. He would join the Zoom just to work on the website. So another round of applause for him, please. As for me, I'm just continuing my Senate chamber enhancements. Hopefully I'm meeting with the Secretary of PR and Secretary of Technology next week to continue working on that, a Zoom option, and then to post website on the Instagram, the Senate meetings. I already talked about my special assistance position, so just stay tuned for that. And then, as always, if you have any questions, let me know. I'm continuing with my parliamentary procedure. I'm working on that with Speaker Flanagan and Attorney Ben Farrell. I'm just trying to learn a little bit more than I do now to be able to act as chief parliamentarian during Senate meetings. I'll be able to work on that a little bit more once I have a clerk though. So I have had my meetings with Core 4, the chairs, and the speaker, and then I think we have really meaningful dialogue at the town hall. So I'm really excited for that to happen again next semester. It's first semester, correct? Yeah. So I'm really excited for that to happen next semester. I just thought it was great that we had that. Again, I'm always here if anyone needs anything, so let me know or send me an email. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
All right, I believe Chief Justice of the left. The Residence Hall Association President, Jill.
Guys, I hope midterms are going okay. Yes, no, maybe so. So not much has been going on. I'm meeting with the director of Res Life next week, Jean McKibbe, just to talk about suggestions that any students may have regarding Res Life. So if you guys have anything, please email me. Then we have Southwest Rejuvenation going on. So it is exactly what it sounds like. We're trying to rejuvenate Southwest. So if you have any suggestions, and if you live in Southwest too, there must have been a form sent out to give out suggestions. But if anything, come to me. Then we're also having elections for the VP and project manager, and nominations open up October 29th. And yeah, I think that's all I have right now. Yeah, thank you.
Vice President Leone.
Well, what does the VP project manager do in RJ?
Yeah, so VP Leone just asked what do the positions do. Project manager, they help organize like the programming events that the RHA hosts, the executive board hosts. So something we're trying to push as the e-board is bigger events for the campus. So project manager will be helping with that, so contacting people, reserving spaces, and whatnot. And then the VP is more like a secretarial role, and they'll be working with me in creating events, leading meetings, and just doing everything. Does that answer your question? Any more questions? Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any RSO council presidents may be recognized. Chief of Staff Nassar is recognized.
I mean, I'm basically giving support out. It's pretty much what was on it. Any questions, I can relay them over to him, but yeah.
Any questions for the Chief of Staff? All right. Secretary Bellerive.
Hello, everyone. My report is up there. I have started the auditing process officially, sent an email to all RSO leaders. Some of you might have seen it. There'll be an Instagram post soon. I'm working with Abby on that, so that should be up. My treasurer is officially appointed. I went to the town hall last week with everyone else who already said that they win. And yeah, so if any questions, happy to answer them. All right.
Oh, President Humphreys.
Yeah. Are there any new and exciting positions that might be opening in your office soon? That's
Not that I'm aware because I did auditor interviews already.
Oh.
So that is done.
That's embarrassing. It was
But
publicized.
no new positions on my end.
Excellent. Secretary Merchant.
Hi everyone, I hope everyone's doing okay. In the next few weeks, I'm basically just going to be working on lockers, also interviewing and hiring my undersecretary. So yeah, that's about it. Tomorrow I have an appeals hearing with Administrative Affairs. So that should be fun for new RSOs. Any questions? No? Thank you.
Attorney General Dorbenga. Secretary Vitale.
What's going on, guys? Basically, just working on elections outreach, pretty much working on tabling the student union. Same thing as last time, student bill of rights. I should be reaching out to the chair soon, hopefully coming from the committees to speak about it a little bit. But yeah, pretty much it. Any questions?
Secretary Heblow. Secretary Heblow is on Zoom. Yeah, you big deal.
I've been working recently on getting both of my undersecretary positions done. I'm proud to announce that I'll be presenting one of them, the Associate Secretary of External Affairs. And I've also recently spoken with Attorney Farrell on getting my Associate Secretary of International Services motion in, and I will be bringing that up to Senate next week.
Any questions? All right, thank you. All right, Secretary Lombo.
Hi guys, I hope you guys are doing okay. Not much from my end, DA fund is up, and so far we have 0 applications. So, yeah, we just I emailed all the cultural RSOs, but like if you guys can just like also tell them to like apply to DIA fund. They know that the guidelines is 21 days before their events, so just remind them. Also with the DEI task force, still waiting on application. It closes on Friday at 11:59. So if you're a leader, RSO leader, just make sure you join because we would love to hear from you guys as well to, make better policies for everybody on this campus. But other than that, I'm just working on finishing up with my undersecretary applications. We've been closed since probably last week. And yeah, she'll probably be here next week or within the next 2 weeks. But other than that, that's all.
Any questions?
Any questions?
Secretary Sharma.
Hey guys, so the main thing I've been working on is the website. Also, so just if anybody's information is incorrect, you're going through and you find it, please let me know. Either you can find it in the office or just send me an email. It's very possible that I might have missed someone and never noticed. But then also just to say, if anybody has ideas or stuff on the website, it is totally feasible. Shout out to Michael who was really passionate about it, so that's why he's got it done, and even Melina who joined in on so many meetings. But yeah, and then another thing that I've been working on is just getting a whole bunch of stuff from the source tagged in a database, like 3D printer or something. Yeah.
Oh, one thing I forgot about the website. There is a space for records requests for members of the public who are interested in that. It's under Senate records. It's a link on all the way over to the right. It just says records requests. It's a Google form. It makes everything a lot more organized, transparent. So, questions?
Hello everyone. Last week, as you know, was the meal swipe donation. So did some advertising for that on the social media. There was a little bit of confusion. We had too many submissions to get sent out to campus for the newsletter to get sent out on time. So I had to update it, and that hopefully should be getting sent out tomorrow. There was a little bit of a delay. And then I had my SAB meeting, and then also my undergraduate education council meeting. And I'm on a subcommittee for Flex 2.0, which is going to help offer more online classes to students. So yeah, that's what I worked on this week.
Any questions? President
Yes.
Alvarez.
What cool thing is taking place on our Instagram account on Wednesdays and Fridays, and who is scheduled for this upcoming Friday?
Takeovers for Wednesday and Friday. I don't know who it is, but I was just about to check and send them the email.
President Humphries.
Oh, it's Humphreys.
It's me.
Colin will be taking over the Instagram on Friday, so make sure you follow along.
Excellent. Thank you. Secretary DeRose. Where did Secretary DeRose just go to? Oh. Secretary Goodchild.
Okay, I don't want to take up too much time. So to be honest, a lot of my time recently has been spent on the Ombudsman Search Committee. Just to fill you guys in, an ombudsman is like a nonpartisan mediator on campus. So we don't have one currently, and we're hiring one. So I'm a part of the search process. And we're really starting to get into the hiring process. So that's been taking up a majority of my time. Just for anybody who's curious, we started moving on to interviews this week. So that's been taking a lot of time. 10 hours to be honest, because I'm a slow reader. But I've also still been working on my projects. I shout out Dale. I had to get him to help me email the parking services guy because he was kind of ghosting me, and that sucked. But Dale helped me out. So he said he's going to send me the codes for the veterans tonight. So hopefully I can get that done. I've been continuing my office hours in the Student Veteran Resource Center, and that's been extremely successful for feedback and just talking and being matching a face to the name of who's representing veterans. I'm also working on coming up with some posters and QRs for feedback. I want to have an anonymous feedback form just specifically for my position because if anybody wants to complain about stuff, I feel as though that they should be able to do that anonymously. And although you can still complain to me and I won't take offense, but I just think it's important to have that. And I believe that's everything I've been doing. Oh, and then I attended CPPC, which is like Campus Physical Planning Council, which is like construction and stuff like that, which I'll talk about later. So thank you. And if you have any questions, see me or ask now. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Hope you guys are doing well. Recently, me and my undersecretaries have been continuing to work with different clubs and administrators about how we can collaborate more on joint health initiatives and have some events. A big thing I'm looking forward to, not sure on a date yet, but it will probably be a Monday or Tuesday in November. We're gonna have a Narcan training for the SGA members who want to join. It will be an hour-long presentation. It will provide an understanding of the current opioid epidemic and why it's best practice to have as many people carry Narcan and be trained to use it as possible. They're gonna discuss signs of potential overdose and how to respond. And everybody will receive Narcan and a rescue breathing mask. So if you're interested in that, look out for more information soon, and I would love to get as many of you there as possible. More information to come, and I was looking to send more resources in the newsletter too, so look out for that, and please continue to reach out to me if you want to collaborate on anything, if you have any questions, anything like that.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Any faculty senate representatives need to be recognized? Senator.
Hey guys, we heard from Dr. Butler earlier about the academic integrity policy. I serve with her on the Academic Matters Council. They passed a couple of new certifications today. I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but I believe we tabled the one for labor studies. So if any of you guys are interested in a certificate in labor studies, please hold off until we actually pass that. We passed 3 out of 4 classes, the 4th just needing a little more clarification as to whether it was a redundant class. Otherwise, the council continues to work on the Title IX policy as well as the academic matters or academic integrity policy.
Any questions? Thank you.
So, like I mentioned in my report out, I attended CPPC. To be honest, like they talk about a lot because it has to do with construction, and there's also a lot of like minute stuff that they talk about. So I really just got like the major stuff that I think is important to students and also for you guys as senators to know about. But if you are curious about, like, there was a Zoom recording, and as far as I'm aware, I can send that to anybody in SGA. So if you want to review that, you can just let me know. But long story short, their Bromery, which is the art center over there, they're doing a major update with signage to allow students to know what's throughout each door, because they've heard a lot of confusion from students, and also it's kind of like they hold a lot of events, so people from the outside that aren't necessarily students will come and get confused and lost in there. So they're updating the signage so it's a lot easier to navigate that building. On the north side of campus, they're working on a project for childcare, which is actually very beneficial to my constituents as veterans. So a lot of older veterans have kids and are coming back for school, so this is actually huge, and I really hope I can support this and do what I can, but that's good news. They're also doing Flint renovations, which is the College of Natural Science Success Center. They're making lounges for students in there, which is kind of cool. They're also creating a pavilion in Orchard Hill by the parking lot near Dickinson, in the back. They're building a pavilion, which is, I think, super cool. And then also they're updating something with the dehumidifier in Mullen Center. I'm a big hockey fan, so I think that's kind of important, but I don't know. And I believe that, and they're doing a land acknowledgement right outside the ILC on the little trapezoid grass area, which is cool. And then they're also doing a lot of renovations for historic buildings. They're looking at buildings that are 50 years or older. And if you're curious what those buildings are, I could find out the information. But there are some historic buildings that they, aren't able to afford to renovate. So it's specific historical buildings that are being renovated. And that's all. Thank you.
Any questions? Vice President Leone.
Do you know like how this project should be funded? Like, is it like city governments or is it like the one specifically
Yeah, that's actually a really good question. So they've like showed a budget or obviously they get money from somewhere and they've shown distribution of the funds. But specifically as to where the money comes from, I'm not entirely sure. And that's something that I think I should know and I will find out. And I'll report that next time I meet. It's a monthly faculty senate council, so obviously I gotta wait a little bit, but I'll let you know when I find out.
Any other questions? All right.
Thank you guys.
Any other faculty senate representatives? All right. On to ESO event representatives. Senator Malari. Oh, okay. ESO event representatives. Any interesting events happening or that have happened? Any advisory board representatives? These would be vice chancellor, student advisory board representatives. All right. On to the Senate committee reports. Also, for anyone who hasn't gotten the agenda, that QR code up there. All right. Chair Reagan is excused for tonight. Chair Trentinaro is also excused. Chair Sarn is also excused. Chair Anyeka.
Hi guys. So right now, my committee is working on trying to get some voting registration out. Leah Wing from the Legal Studies Department reached out to me because she was kind of concerned about how little is being done right now to get students registered to vote. So I'm going to be sending out a sign-up sheet for tabling at Worcester, Hamp, and Burke for next week. And I really would appreciate if y'all could sign up for maybe 30 minutes of your time. It'll be from 4 to 8, so we can get students on campus registered because the deadline is next Saturday. So it's really important that we do that. Everything else, my report was up there. Any questions?
would that be open to all
senators?
Yeah, yeah, it's open to all senators. I'm gonna send it out. I'm also gonna send it to people from MassPer because they're interested in joining that as well. But it's open to everybody.
Yes, Senator.
Is that different from the thing that got sent out today in MassPer?
Yeah, that's different because this is for next week. This is gonna be like tabling at the dining halls where you can just like have people sign up, like check if they're registered to vote and also registering them to vote at the table. It's pretty quick, like 2 minutes it takes to do that.
Senator Solero.
Is there going to be like a training or like introduction to it for students who have never done it before?
Yeah, I'm gonna have like a document of everything you're gonna need for it. It's pretty simple, honestly. Like it's gonna be like having a link open on your computer for students to just come up and see if they're registered to vote. It's really quick, so it won't be too hard. But I'll make sure y'all know how to do that. Oh, also, we're also going to be working on trying to foster some conversations around like Israel and Palestine because I feel like last week's Senate meeting, you could tell there's a lot of tensions going on around right now, and I feel like we need to have a space where we can talk about it outside of like the rules of Senate. So I'm working on trying to do that for like our caucus and conversations sometime in November. So more word on that later. Anything else? Questions?
Thank you.
Okay, hi everyone. So this was mentioned earlier on during Chair Onyeka's Senate report, but yes, tomorrow, if you guys have seen the Instagram of both MassPer and SGA, we'll be having a joint MassPer SGA voter education event where we'll be collaborating with MassPer to pretty much not only educate voters in and out of state, but also get them registered on paper right then and there. So the email that every single senator and cabinet members gotten was for tabling from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. in 30-minute increments. So if you haven't already and there's still a spot open and you can, do it. It's great. Also, next Monday, which will be our first in-person meeting for Undergraduate Services Committee, we will be discussing and creating a strategic plan for administrative transparency on finance. So I know I got this idea from the senators at my on my table during senator training, and some of them have expressed interest. So if you guys are interested and want to know more, please email me and I can see if you can come to the meeting and help us, make a strategic plan. Again, our meeting where we will be doing this will be Monday, 10 p.m. I know, sorry about the time, but everyone can meet at that time. So Monday, 10 p.m. at Worcester Dining. And also, I feel like it's really important to say that a very beloved One Direction member has died today, unfortunately. A moment of silence for Liam Payne. He made many hits and was a lot of our childhood. So, okay, I feel like that was needed. All right, that's it from my end.
Any questions? Thank you.
Hi everyone, my report out is up there. I'm not gonna read the entire thing because it is lengthy. I will hit on a couple points though. So we had our budget request for the religious and spiritual life and advocacy. We have academic and a few other ones coming up. Sackle Finance and I, along with our Secretary of Finance, are currently collaborating to do a financial analysis in order to identify some not sustainable financial practices, and this will hopefully help inform decisions moving forward with SATF reform. I also met with Lydia Washington and Sid this week to discuss the impact of across-the-board cuts on our agencies. So we're trying to see what we can do to help our agencies to keep them fully operational next year. More to come on that. And Akansha and I held 2 sessions with our committee members. I did want to highlight another thing regarding SATF reforms. That being that there are a couple opportunities for senators who are not on Ways and Means and Finance Subcommittee to get involved, if any of you are interested in. So the first one being the RSO supply closet. Rania and I are currently collaborating on that, and I will be introducing my committee members to that project next week. But if there are senators who want to get involved in that, I know there are quite a few folks in this room who are interested in sustainability, so that might be something you want to get involved in. There's also a lot of effort being put into the fact of us creating an RSO advisory board. So ideally, this would consist of council presidents. We currently don't have council presidents, so we're trying to create this board again, and they would be advising our Ways and Means Committee / Finance Subcommittee to inform us in ways how we can make our process a lot more transparent for RSOs and other groups here on campus. I think that's it. If there's any questions, please feel free and ask, and there will be more information on reforms to come next week. Any questions? We good?
All right, thank you. And Chair Sharma is recognized. All right. Sid is traveling at the moment, or about to travel, so he could not make it to this meeting. And Claire is not here. All right. Contrary to what the agenda says, there is no longer a reason to go into communal from our end. But does there exist an additional reason to call this session communal? All right, there being no reasons, the Senate will continue the remainder of the agenda. No special orders were submitted to the Office of the Speaker. The Senate has no unfinished business. Moving on to new business. All right, the Senate will now consider 2425 S30, which is a bill to amend Title II, Chapter 31, Section 3.8 of the General Bylaws of the Student Government Association, the Rules and Ethics Subcommittee. This bill was reviewed by the Committee on Administrative Affairs on October 10th and was reported favorably. The chair will now entertain a motion to table this bill until the next Senate meeting. Senator Wood. All right, a motion to table has been moved and seconded. The sponsor is recognized for a factual description. Do you waive factual description? Okay, all right. Is there a need for debate on the subsidiary motion? No indication of need for debate. The subsidiary motion to table is called, and the question is on the adoption of the motion. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. All those abstain, say abstain. All right. S30 is to be tabled until next Senate meeting. The Senate will now consider S31, a bill to amend Title II, Chapter 31, Section 3 of the General Bylaws of the Student Government Association Administrative Affairs Committee. This bill was reviewed by the Committee on Administrative Affairs on October 10th and was reported favorably. If I may, the reason why we're tabling these two is because Chair Centenaro was unable to attend this meeting, and we both agreed that she should be here for to present on these because, well, for rules and ethics, it was her and I last semester, but for administrative affairs, it was all her. Senator Wu. All right, a motion to table S31 until next week has been moved and seconded. Factual description? All right, is there a need for debates on the subsidiary motion? All right, so with no indication of need for debate, the subsidiary motion to table S31 until next week is called, and the question is on the adoption of the motion. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Those abstained say abstain. The ayes have it, and the motion to table is adopted. Oops. The Senate will now consider S32, a bill to amend Title III, Chapter 15, Section 5 of the General Bylaws of the Student Government Association, the Secretary of External Affairs. This bill was reviewed by the Administrative Affairs on October 10th and was reported favorably. All right, let me pull this up for right here. This bill reads, whereas the role of the Secretary of External Affairs is crucial to the communication and coordination between the Student Government Association, SGA, and the town of Amherst and external government entities, and whereas the current responsibilities of the Secretary of External Affairs are outlined in the SGA bylaws and need to be updated to reflect the evolving needs of student representation and engagement. The chair would prefer to read this. Whereas the proposed amendments aim to enhance voter and census engagement initiatives, strengthen relationships with government representatives at the town, state, and national levels, and ensure the inclusion of international students' representation within the SGA. And whereas the proposed amendments implement the structure and responsibilities of the Undersecretary of External Affairs and the Undersecretary of International Services, establishing a clear framework for delegation and assistance to ensure the effective fulfillment of the Secretary's duties. Secretary Crummett?
Motion to suspend the rules so the speaker doesn't have to read the entirety of the.
Chair would prefer to read. There's just two more resolving clauses. There's no second. Okay. Be it resolved that the Administrative Affairs Committee review the proposed bylaw amendments as outlined in the attached document and provide feedback for further improvement if necessary before forwarding the amendments to the full Senate for approval. Be it further resolved that the Administrative Affairs Committee approve the following provisions to the SGA bylaws. I will pull those up right now. All right. Chair Centenaro is not here, so Secretary Tevlo, did you have any words you'd like to say about this for factual description? 1 second, sir. All right, you're good.
Oh, all right. So I've been working on a revamp of the external affairs position for quite some time now. And basically what the positions are supposed to do is basically, what we're basically doing in external affairs is we're taking a more holistic government relations approach. If you don't know what government relations, it's how we interact with the government as an SGA. And we might need to take a redirect in how we do that. So we have a strengthened relationship with the state government, the town of Amherst, et cetera. So currently, as I'm not in Amherst, I would potentially need some help in getting in contact with the town of Amherst. This would be crucial to building a good relation with the SGA. I know in the past we definitely could have had a stronger relationship with the town of Amherst, especially since we're talking about things like more state funding, et cetera. It really starts from bottom. Also, what the position is designed to do is designed to streamline in the SGA how we interact with the government through the associate secretary, and also through the secretary of external affairs who will oversee these processes. Most importantly, I've always been an advocate of secretaries having permanent undersecretary positions. I think that this would definitely help the burden. I think that you could honestly make a whole team of people of who could just go to the town of Amherst, to the state representatives, et cetera, and talk to them. I think just, one position, would do for now, just, just to be realistic about things. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, or just any confusions with some of these questions, I'm definitely am more than willing to talk about this in depth. And I'd say I probably should have just prepared a quick presentation of what I'm doing. I can do that for my next motion. Lastly, I believe there might have been some miscommunication with the language of it. I would like to call it the associate secretary position, and I know that Ella will likely be making a motion to change that, or Senator Popular. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions, factual questions about the motion? All right, is there a second?
Second.
Oh, Senator Borowski.
This go into effect this year or next?
The question was, would this go into effect this year or the next? I believe I could provide some clarification.
Yes.
So bylaw amendments, if they're not specified when it goes into effect, it's immediately or upon the signature of the Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs. Any other questions? Senator Brocker.
Motion to amend the main motion to change.
Motions to amend are out of order until a second, right after second. There is a second for the main motion. No other questions though, correct? Okay. A second was heard. Senator Prabhakar is recognized.
Motion to amend the main motion to change Undersecretary of External Affairs to Associate Secretary of External Affairs.
So change Undersecretary of External Affairs to Associate Secretary.
Second.
Okay. The sponsor is recognized for factual description.
It's just what Kenyatta said.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. And
I can attest to the factual description. From what I understand, associate secretary is meant to provide a position in which a situation like what we have right now with the Secretary of External Affairs is away from office, therefore not on our campus. He wants to establish a position where the secretary is not demeaned by the word undersecretary, but rather an associate secretary that acts as a liaison between him and the town of Amherst, as well as any surrounding areas that might be impacted by our campus, which is why he chose to use the word associate secretary in the original bill rather than the wording of undersecretary.
all Senate amendments will be indicated in blue. Is this the correct amendment?
Yes, and there's one more mention of it for your pleasure.
This,
On 2 lines.
I see, okay. Well, it's just in all instances, right? Okay, we will get the correct. It's really tricky because it's sideways from there.
There's also one at the end.
Oh, I see that now. Everyone can see this on the motions packet, correct? Everyone's following along? Oh, that's another motion. Okay. All right, wonderful. With this amendment, it was seconded, factual description. Any questions about the amendment? Yes, Senator Duarte. Point of clarification. Thank you. Vice President Honey.
Okay, I have a point of information. So I have a text from Val. You can verify her number if needed. But basically, so I explained to her this change as well, and so she kind of wrote like a little statement. I'm gonna read it. It's pretty brief. It also kind of summarizes like why we're making this change. So she said, "Good evening, everyone. Unfortunately, I cannot be present today. As a sponsor of this motion, I want to express my endorsement in this bylaw amendment. In addition, I encourage the speaker to entertain a motion to amend the position's title from undersecretary back to blah blah blah." The committee originally made this amendment on the impression that this was undersecretary position being codified into the bylaws for transparency and accountability, since Secretary Hubble is working in DC. After further clarification of the position's roles and responsibilities by VP Leone, it is clear that the proposed position is not a codification of an undersecretary's position, but rather the establishment of a new position overseen by the current Secretary of External Affairs, blah, blah, blah. So what that means is this isn't the same as just like creating a regular undersecretary position. The undersecretaries are given at the discretion of the president. And so, for example, like treasurer is technically like an undersecretary, but it's an established undersecretary with different roles. And that's kind of the approach we're taking here with external affairs associate secretary. Because treasurer, for example, they're not just someone that is an undersecretary that assists for all roles from the Secretary of External Affairs. They support with specific tasks. And those tasks include like attending like town council meetings. So that's kind of why we're not just codifying this and calling this just an undersecretary. So that's the point of information. Thank you.
Any further questions of fact for the subsidiary motion to amend? All right. Is there a need for debate on the subsidiary motion to amend? All right, seeing none, the motion is called and the question is on the adoption to amend S32 to reflect the changes introduced by Senator Provocar. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. All those abstain say abstain. The ayes have it and the motion to amend is adopted. All right, where were we? We received a second for the main motion. Any other motions? Any other subsidiary motions? All right. Is there a need for debate on the main motion? All righty. With no indication of a need for debate, the motion is called and the question is on the passage of S32, which reads, what's the long title? S32. Bill to amend Title 3, Chapter 15, Section 5 of the General Bylaws of the Student Government Association, the Secretary of External Affairs. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. All those abstain, say abstain. In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it, and S32 is passed. All right. The Senate will now consider S33, a bill to amend Title 3, Chapter 20, Sections 1 and 2 of the General Bylaws of the Student Government Association, the Secretary of Sustainability. This motion was reviewed by the Committee on Administrative Affairs on October 10th and was reported favorably. The chair will entertain a motion to table back to the Administrative Affairs Committee for the purposes of adding whereas statements. Senator Wood.
Motion to table back to EPA for the reasoning of adding whereas statements.
Second.
So are there any questions for the sponsor of the motion? All right. S33 is being tabled back to Administrative Affairs. It doesn't have whereas statements. So for records keeping purposes, it's really important to have that context of why a motion is being introduced and all of that stuff. So, any further questions about this? Okay. A motion to table S33 back to the Administrative Affairs Committee has been moved and seconded. All those in, is there any further debates on this? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say no. All those abstained, say abstain. All right, the ayes have it, and the motion is adopted. Accordingly, S33 will be tabled to Administrative Affairs for their reconsideration of the motion, which will then be referred to the Senate after that. All right. Get back to this presentation. There's no unfinished business, or sorry, no business not anticipated. On to ending roll call.
Senator Adeni. Senator Alamanje. Senator Amin. Senator Bloom. Senator Borowski. Senator Vutusova.
Here.
Senator DeMarco. Senator Dami.
Here.
Senator Duarte.
Here.
Senator Duvetti.
Here.
Senator Eze. Senator Faiza. Senator Germain.
Here.
Senator Hercule.
Here.
Senator Hingar. Senator Hiranandani. Senator Ibrahim. Senator Imran. Senator Jammeh. Senator Kim. Senator Kumar. Senator Leclerc. Senator Lewis.
Here.
Senator Molesky. Senator Malari. Senator Manda. Senator Mankinidan. Chair Mazanda. Senator Mello. Senator Nevins. Senator Nguyen. Chair Onyeka.
Here.
Senator Patel. Senator Patak. Senator Pastorello. Senator Fawn. Senator Prabhakaran. Senator Prabhakar. Chair Raven. Senator Rue. Chair Sarna. Chair Sharma. Chair Stamen.
Here.
Senator Silveria. Senator Strong. Senator Timken. Senator Tao. Chair Tran. Senator Chuang. Senator Burma. Senator Wu.
The chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Senator Wu.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
All right. The question is on, the motion to, I guess it's it. Question on the motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no.
I just want to say something really quick.
All
Sorry.
those abstain. Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
All those abstain say abstain. All right, the ayes have it. Accordingly, the Senate stands adjourned until October 23rd.
Sorry about that. If you are filling out the excuse absence form, please remember that I can't excuse your absence if there's nothing like tangible attached to it. So if you don't send me a screenshot of your SI session or an exam, I can't excuse it. So just keep that in mind, please. Thank you.
Wonderful job today, everyone. Pretty straightforward meeting. I hope you all have a great